Ross Feingold is the former Asia chair of Republicans abroad and joins us now from Taipei. Ross, good to have you on the program with us. Trump is eager, as we know, to get out on the campaign trail, and his doctor says he's not contagious. Do you expect to see him using his experience and recovery with coronavirus over the next few weeks as part of his campaigning?
He certainly will. And in a way, it just is consistent with the partisan divide that we've seen throughout 2020 during this period when the virus spread from Asia and Europe into the United States. And that many Republican politicians, including the president and Republican voters, feel that there was an overreaction with the lockdowns and the local rules requiring masks. So the fact that the president recovered so quickly and apparently had a relatively mild case of the coronavirus, it really just helps him make that case. Look, it's still going to be a close election. He'll probably lose the national vote, but on a state by state electoral college basis, he still might have a chance. And by arguing that the lockdown was a democratic way to hurt his presidency and the economy, he might still pick up a few undecided voters in the coming weeks, but he's certainly not going to run from the issue, and he'll definitely be campaigning on it.
Do you think he lost any ground, though, being the fact that he was being treated for coronavirus for a week and wasn't able to be out on the campaign trail? Do you think that's hurt him at all in the polls?
Probably not much, simply because he was still active on social media, active with interviews, and his surrogates were still active in the media as well. And the advertising continued, even though we saw the Biden campaign in the initial days after the president was diagnosed saying we're going to remove negative ads, but the Trump campaign did not remove negative ads about Joe Biden. So his absence from the rallies is probably not going to hurt him. What might hurt him, again, is if there are enough voters who say we don't like how you handled the virus. But as we discussed, Trump is going to be betting that there'll be some voters who say we like the way the president has aggressively pushed back on calls for total lockdowns. And look, the president, with his personal style, his energy, his enthusiasm, it does appeal to some voters in the United States. And the fact that he recovered so quickly, again, it just plays into that aspect of why some voters in America like him.
You said you don't think that Trump will win the national vote, but of course in the U.S. it's all about the Electoral College. And we have seen on the Republican side some Republicans come out and say that they aren't confident that Trump will win the election. What does that signal to you that we're not seeing this confidence from the GOP?
Well, clearly, senators, especially incumbent Republican senators, they have the majority. They're worried about losing the majority. There's some Senate races that are very close. There's some unexpected races where Republican incumbents who were thought to have an easy victory this year and be reelected might actually lose their seats. So sure, Republicans are trying to hedge their bets. They might be telling voters in their states that, oh, I'm actually not that close to the president, which would be a different message than they'd been giving earlier in the year or throughout the Trump presidency. But there's definitely some worry about not only losing the White House, but losing the Senate as well. And obviously, Republicans don't control the House. They're unlikely to recapture the House. So there is a worry about down ballot effect for other candidates. So clearly, they're trying to manage that risk. Whether or not it'll be successful, we'll find out on November 3rd.
All right, we certainly will. Ross Feingold in Taipei. Ross, thank you.